My name is Varun, and I am the host for the show, the Startup Show, presented by Ampliz, where you can hear and experience a lot of stories and experiences from the startup founders by themselves, who's been working on really great strategies, a lot of learnings, and a lot of struggles in their life. So today I will directly dive into a very interesting conversation for this 2020 with Sunny Dulay, who is the founder of the company Breaktrhough App, which is they turn dreams into reality. So he's a person with an experience of more than 4 years in the startup ecosystem, and he's been living in Canada from the past 15 years, and he's living right now in California, working with amazing products. And basically, if I talk about Sunny, he's basically a person who's a trailblazer, and also at the same time, he creates a lot of mobile applications. He's an expert in making mobile application, and also he's a person who likes to build relationships. So we were having a conversation in LinkedIn, and I invited him for the podcast. He was completely all right, and he was so happy to be part of this podcast. I'm so excited right now to have a conversation with him because he's creating few applications right now for influence for this 2020, because that's going to be the upcoming trend in this coming year. Social influencers. There are a lot of things to discuss right now. So I straight away want to get into the discussion right now with Sunny. Hi, Sunny. Hello, my name is Varun, and I am the host for the show, the Startup Show, presented by Ampliz, where you can hear and experience a lot of stories and experiences from the startup founders by themselves, who's been working on really great strategies, a lot of learnings, and a lot of struggles in their life. So today I will directly dive into a very interesting conversation for this 2020 with Sunny Dulay, who is the founder of the company Breaktrhough App, which is they turn dreams into reality. So he's a person with an experience of more than 4 years in the startup ecosystem, and he's been living in Canada from the past 15 years, and he's living right now in California, working with amazing products. And basically, if I talk about Sunny, he's basically a person who's a trailblazer, and also at the same time, he creates a lot of mobile applications. He's an expert in making mobile application, and also he's a person who likes to build relationships. So we were having a conversation in LinkedIn, and I invited him for the podcast. He was completely all right, and he was so happy to be part of this podcast. I'm so excited right now to have a conversation with him because he's creating few applications right now for influence for this 2020, because that's going to be the upcoming trend in this coming year. Social influencers. There are a lot of things to discuss right now. So I straight away want to get into the discussion right now with Sunny. Hi, Sunny.
Hey, Varun. Thank you for that awesome intro, man.
Thank you so much, Sunny, for joining, as well as that's what I'm prepared to do. And I guess I did the best out of it. So thank you, Sunny. But how was 2019 for you?
Oh, man, great question. 2019 was a roller coaster. It was the most fulfilling year of my life. I actually got laid off from a job I had been working for 4 years, and shortly after that, I started my own company. So it was pretty amazing.
So 2019 was the year where things started to change, and now it's going to evolve into another level. So just directly want to dive into the first question I want to ask you is about Breaktrhough Apps. What is basically Breaktrhough Apps, and what is the concept behind it, and how did you start it off?
Yeah. Hey, great question. So Breaktrhough Apps we're a software company, and we enable fitness experts or fitness influencers to have their own mobile app.
Okay.
So we're enabling them to have an app, like a best-in-class fitness app,
Okay.
that their followers can practice along with them in different parts of the world, and as well as they can make money from it.
Simple as that. So it's basically like, this might be a very tricky question, but these days most of the service-based companies are moving towards a product based. So is it something based on that concept you're working this Breaktrhough Apps?
Yeah, great question. I think from the outset, it sounds like a services company where we make a relationship with the influencer. We say, hey, you pay us X amount of money, we'll make an app. So, our introduction is kind of we seem like a services company where we reach out to influencers and build relationships and sign contracts. But in reality, we're actually a product company. And that's our vision, to become a product company.
Okay.
Right now we bring on influencers and we actually don't charge them anything to build the app. And we strictly do a rev share, or a revenue share. So, we have to be very diligent in the way we pick the influencers we work with. So we have a whole criteria in how we pick the influencers to make sure that they will be like rising stars, and it makes business sense for us.
Okay. So just wanted to ask you, why would you consider, changing the pace from the service-based company to the product-based company? What was the biggest factor which made you to change the concept of the service-based company into a product-based?
Yeah, great question. So the first startup I ever worked at, it was a services-based app development company back in Canada. I had learnings from just working there as an engineer that you kind of get contracts, and then after you get the contract, you get a lot of money, but after you build the app, you hand over the code.
Okay.
All that work is kind of just like gone, so to speak, but you get the money from it, but there's no like investment into the long-term future.
Okay.
So that and few other just stories hearing from other founders of services companies, I realized that we don't want to be a services company, because all the work we're doing with each of our clients, we want to use that as investment for the future. So what we do is when we build an app for an influencer, we're actually building modules that are part of our platform.
Okay.
And so essentially, once we build it for a single influencer, let's say influencer in yoga, we build a yoga application for them that maybe has follow-along videos and courses. We can turn around and have that same functionality for a new influencer.
Okay.
And then through that, we can have the repeatability of like churning out new influencers. So, we started with one client and now we have 6 clients, and we'll be, in the next few months, we'll have 5 apps on the App Store. So it's pretty exciting. And we couldn't do that if we were not trying to be a product company and using the repeatability.
That's actually really great, because it turns out to be like you are generating a lot of MRR at the same time using this strategy, right?
Yeah.
So how, like, even I saw certain applications like 1 minute workout application, which is quite a very famous application, which most of the people are being using. And it's very simple to use at the same time. Just you have to follow a few steps and you have to work out. So there are some pretty interesting application. So right now, I want to discuss about the current project or the current milestone, the 2 applications which you're working. And one is the fitness application, where you're connecting the fitness expert and the influencers who follows and influencers application. So what exactly it helps, and what are the strategies you're looking for this 2020? Because it's going to be a new refreshing year, and a lot of new strategies you're going to see a lot of new strategies. So what are things running in your mind right now?
So maybe first I can talk from a sales perspective, and then I can get into more of a product perspective.
Sure.
Okay, cool. From a sales perspective, the strategies that we're trying to employ is get more referenceability.
Okay.
From influencer to influencer.
Uh-huh.
So, we've signed 6 clients now. Almost all of them were via cold outreach.
Okay.
And one of them was via referrals. And we want to build better, continue to invest in our current clients so we get their referenceability.
Mm-hmm.
And as well as, I think a big strategy that we're looking into is actually creating a high level funnel for our company, so people that are not in our network, they can still discover us. So the strategies that we want to start employing is we're finally going to build a landing page. So we got these 6 clients without even having a landing page. So we're finally going to build a landing page to kind of go to the next level. And with that landing page, I want to start doing, me and my co-founder, we want to start doing more blogging and talking about why, if you're a fitness influencer and a fitness expert, why it's important for you to have your own app. Okay. 10 years ago, fitness experts had their own DVDs, and and after they started posting stuff to YouTube and like Instagram. And as the trends are moving and everybody has these mobile phones in their hands, I think there's some thought leadership that we need to provide to our target market to kind of describe, to convince them of the reality of why they need to have an app, and how, and also kind of share case studies of how many other fitness influencers are making thousands of dollars a month through having their own app. So that's kind of my sales strategy.
So how actually, like you mentioned, like it was completely a cold outreaching strategy, right? And there was also referral at the same time. So how did you reach out? Like what particular channels did you choose to reach out to particular influencers or clients? So what were the channels were you preferring?
For us, since we kind of had to think about, where does our target client live? And it was pretty easy for us. It's all Instagram.
Okay.
So literally, people have that saying, I was able to slide into their DMs. So I literally, me and my co-founder, we were just been doing DMing bunch of influencers. After we got our first influencer, which is Mary Oshner. She's a yoga instructor, and on Instagram she has over 200,000 followers.
Exactly.
And that's the first real app that we built, and that makes money. After having that app, we were able to it was a lot easier to kind of get attention from other influencers, because we could show that, hey, look, we built an app for Mary Oshner. We would love to do the same for you.
So that's how it all started off.
Yeah. And we got super lucky with Mary. We had messaged her when she wasn't at 200,000 followers. She was just getting started with her Instagram game as well. So I think I always like to attribute to luck, to just being lucky to message her. And it was actually my co-founder who messaged her. So I'm always thankful to him. That got it all started.
Anyway, the deal's done and the application has been out, and the application name is the official Trap Yoga Bay app. Am I right?
Oh, so that was our first client, and that actually never got launched. But this one is Mary Oshner Yoga. So if you go to the App Store, iOS App Store or Android App Store, you just type in Mary, Mary space yoga, YOGA. That's the first application that pops up.
Awesome. I think everyone should check it out. Like, how did they work? Like, how did they did the job? And it was really amazing. Like, tapping into Instagram, because most B2C strategies are like these days, everything B2C it's happening to B2B. So it's basically a channel where, it works like a charm, basically. So I think like there might be a lot of hacks as well for so have you tried Instagram advertising or Instagram promotions or anything?
Not with this company. I had built apps in the past, and for those we had tried Instagram advertising, like through the Facebook advertising platform. Always had good returns from that, but we haven't done it formally with the company. But I think that's another thing that's actually part of our strategy for when we get to more of a place where we can have a marketing budget and start marketing to influencers. I think that would be a great place to do that too.
Okay, that's great. I think this year it's going to be all about influencer marketing in a lot of other new work, video marketing strategies coming up. So what is your take for this year? Like, what all new strategies you would like to work this year to get 6 more other new clients? And how are you going to manage every clients all together for this year? That's the biggest question I want to ask.
Yeah, man, it's coffee's my friend. A lot of coffee for this. Well, so luckily we've been building up slowly and surely. So we had 1 client, and then we got 2 clients and 3 clients, and now we got 6 clients. And as we've been kind of building on these clients, and now out of the 6 clients, we've actually launched 2 apps. So Mary Oshner is the first one, and another guy, Danny Pomploon. He's a yogi in San Francisco, where I live. And we launched his app, and we recently just launched that like last week. And now we're getting ready to launch. There's another guy, Kyle Uyghur. He's like a handstand coach, and he's got a big following on Instagram as well. And as we are getting, all these people onboarded, I'm keeping that vision in mind, where eventually we want to become kind of a self-serve platform for influencers.
Okay.
And kind of keeping that in mind, I'm kind of after each week, I reflect back to like all of the services interactions that I've had with each client and trying to figure out how to make certain things repeatable.
Okay.
Like, for example, when we first sign on with these clients, we have a contract. So now we've made the contract process a lot more repeatable.
Okay.
Second, after they've signed the contract, and this kind of next step is to get them to input what content they want in the app. We've created a checklist, which is a repeatable process now.
Okay.
Actually, even going before that, in our sales cycle, after we do the outreach, we generally like to do a call with the client and kind of like show them a little mock-up of what the app would look like. And even that process now, I've made it with my, using Sketch, which is a tool I just absolutely love, even though I'm not a designer.
Yeah.
I've created symbols and stuff to make stuff very repeatable, to swap stuff out, like branding and pictures.
Yeah.
So I'm always just thinking about making things repeatable, and I'm noticing with each client, from sales to implementation and then just getting to operations, is getting easier and easier, because we're kind of keeping that in the back of our heads to make things repeatable and think of it as a process.
Okay. And it's a completely a bootstrap startup, right? So it's working and it's working like a very great as well at the same time. So how many members are actually working for Breaktrhough app right now?
Right now we have 3 people.
Okay.
It's me, my co-founder, and we have one of my friends. He's in Canada, and he handles most of our engineering.
Okay.
And important, it's important to note, all 3 of us still code. Like, I myself still code here and there. And we have if it wasn't for my friend who's in Canada, we would be in a bad place, because he's very easily able to build apps and such.
Okay.
He's very good.
If it's a one client, so how many duration do you take to build that application?
Great question. So was your question how long?
How long? Yes.
How long it takes for us to build an app for each client?
Yes.
So if it's a pretty standard V1 yoga app, which is like in our app, and if you look at the Mary Oshner app, there's like classes, courses, quotes, and there's some fitness stats like your streaks and how many sessions you've done. That's our standard product. And then if it's a standard product, to actually code and build the app for iOS and Android, right now it's taking 2 weeks.
Okay.
Which is unheard of, right? And by the way, these are native apps.
Okay.
This is not a web force fitted into a native. It's a native app. But we don't use native programming, and I can talk more about that. And yeah, so it takes 2 weeks, and I think we've kind of in our kind of planning and looking at the different moving parts, I think we can get it down to a couple of days.
So eventually. Before getting into the programming part, let's say before getting into the developing part, how long does it take you to chart down everything? Let's say it's a product strategy, like where exactly should I put each and every options of features to align and to make it into a reality. So how long that process takes you to get into the developing part?
Oh, got it. So the first quote I mentioned is that kind of assumes the features are already built, and we're just repurposing it for a new client. It's essentially like a white labeled product.
Okay.
So that part takes 2 weeks, because we're just kind of replacing the branding and switching around the content, right? Okay. Now, there are for all of our clients, we also do customizations, once we launch the V1. And then those customizations become a module into the platform. Now, that process definitely takes longer.
Yeah.
So we recently launched a community feature in the Mary Oshner Yoga app, where people are, different users, if they're doing a challenge, they can see how many other people are also doing the challenge. Okay. And they can join a new challenge as well. So that feature, in terms of kind of like, we try to be pretty agile in our product development process. So initially we kind of do mock-ups of what the feature will be and kind of align it with the team members as well as our client, because the client's a big stakeholder in this, just to kind of know what it will be coming up. And then we iterate on that wireframe and a high fidelity mockup.
Okay.
And once that's done, we kind of move into writing it into specs to getting it coded. That whole process for that feature, which was, I would say that was a fairly light feature. That whole process took us 2 months.
2 months.
Yeah. But now that's a module. Now we can, now that it's built, we can turn it on for different people.
Yeah, different.
And turning it on takes like an hour.
So that's like you have standardized a process, and now you can you use it for the different purposes.
Reuse. Yep. Keep reusing it. That's my favorite word this year. Reuse.
Reuse. Yeah, exactly. And I think it's working pretty well at this point of stage. And looking ahead for this 2020, like I said, so since, like you said, you just started this off from the previous year, like 2019, you started it off, and you had mapped it down. So what are the next 6 months plans or next 6 months strategies you're looking forward to work with? And what takeaway are you expecting from this year?
Yeah, great question. So this year, I would say in terms of kind of like our client base, we're hoping to expand. So, a majority of our clients right now are yoga instructors.
Yes.
And these are all yoga apps we're building. And one of our clients, she's a big influencer, and she does diets and meal plans and such.
Okay.
So what we're looking into is moving into different verticals.
Okay.
So we've been focused on yoga, and actually now we're also talking to somebody in martial arts who teaches the different martial arts. And we're getting close to close that deal. And so this year, we're hoping to expand into more verticals.
Okay.
We kind of wanted to be conservative to kind of do single vertical first and then land and expand.
Exactly.
And as well as I would like for us to really be kind of the go-to company whenever any yoga instructor thinks to build their own app, because we make it so easy for them. We don't charge them anything, and we have skin in the game to build an app for them, and we do it relatively quickly. So I want to expand in different verticals, and as well as I really want to own, for at least for this year, the yoga vertical when it comes to building apps.
Okay.
And as well as I'm actually counting on certain technologies to get better, to make it easy for us to scale building mobile applications, because there are, even though, it takes us a couple of weeks to build a new mobile applications, there still are a ton of challenges when it comes to publishing an app to the iTunes App Store or to the Android console. There's a lot of manual work involved there. So I'm hoping for some technology, whether it's technology innovations that we build, or maybe that's something like Apple or Google builds, or somebody in the community builds. I'm really counting on that. And I'm actually bullish that will happen. Okay. Where we will get more technology built that makes it easier to build mobile applications.
Okay. So that's pretty much like maybe a bottleneck or just a kind of problem. I think you might be able to fix it. So what is actually the biggest challenge for you as an entrepreneur, as a startup founder, from the past experiences? What was the biggest challenge, and what are you still trying to solve it, or have you found a solution for that?
Yeah, so maybe I'll start with a technical challenge that I think now we're on the way to solving, and I'll give you my second challenge that we're currently kind of thinking about. The first challenge was a technical challenge, which was, hey, if we're going to build native applications for all these influencers, and it's going to be iOS and Android, those are the two main platforms, are we going to have to, for each influencer, are we going to have two different code bases, one in Swift and one in Java Android? So that was a big challenge. And our first app that we launched was native, Swift, and Android.
Okay.
But then thanks to my awesome team, we've now turned our code base into a single code base, which is so we leverage a technology called Flutter, which is created by Google.
Yes.
And with Flutter now, literally, we have a single code base where there's still technical challenges in kind of publishing the builds for iOS and Android, but it's definitely a lot easier. And the challenges around that, again, are that it's a relatively new platform. It's a relatively new way of building apps, but the apps, they feel and look native. That's the nice thing about it. But I think there's going to be a lot more, hopefully, support from the community on those. And we're counting on that. So that's the current challenge, technically speaking. The other challenge, the continuous struggle is we are in many ways look and feel even internally as a services company.
Okay.
And we want to convert into a product company where we have more reusable things. So that's a challenge that now that we've got clients signed and we've got some systems turning, I can look to make many other things reusable that take up my time or my co-founder's time to kind of like, whether it's, support content for different clients. Or so, right now we have to edit all the content ourselves whenever a client wants it edited, but we're trying to create tools. So for example, Mary, she can just go on her phone and edit a description of a yoga class. Right now I have to do it all on my own in our back end. So I'm trying to create some of those reusable tools, and as well as creating. So eventually where we want to get to is, Squarespace and Wix to create websites. Eventually we want to get to the vision that we have in our minds is to become the Squarespace for fitness apps.
Okay, got it.
Where an influencer can go, they can say, oh, I want to have a course. I want to have a class. I want to have a timer. I want to have a quotes page, but for mobile apps. And I think the journey to get there is definitely a struggle, because we kind of have to do it client by client, and then rolling that all into a platform. It's going to be a continuous struggle, but we're ready for it, and we're very excited.
That's a motivation you should keep up, and I think that's a very wonderful concept as well. As I was thinking the same, so templatizing each and every application into specific based on what your client or what your target audience is looking for. For example, if freelancers or influencers are looking for particular things for yoga, it should be templatized like you said. So it's a very interesting concept, and most days I completely agree. Like recently I have been in a discussion with a lot of service-based company, and their model has been shifting from service-based to product-based.
Interesting.
That's a trend they are just trying to follow, because they also want to prove that yes, there are a lot of potential clients or potential people out there, influencers out there, who want to try and launch something as soon as possible, and this might be the future. So it's very interesting that you people are working, like 3 people are working, but it's like you people have 10 heads each. Like we said, Ravan, like it's like really great.
Ravan, yeah.
It's like really great.
It's interesting, because I feel like to become a good product company, you kind of have to do stuff that's unscalable and work with, for us, I think working with each client is good, because as I'm on calls with all of our influencers day in and day out, I'm actually doing customer development. I myself, I'm a ex-product manager, ex-engineer. I don't know what it's like to be a fitness influencer, but as I'm spending so much time with fitness influencers, fitness experts, I'm understanding who they are as a persona. So if we're thinking of eventually building a Squarespace for fitness influencers, I really need to understand them. And I think that's kind of the beauty of why I'm kind of happy to do these unscalable things right now, because I'm doing the customer development.
Exactly. That's a really it is a process, because you have to get into the shoes of your customer to understand what they actually do. And it is quite really impressive that a lot of other people and a lot of other startup founders are also starting to do that, because that's how awesome. You have to solve an actual problem, apart from bringing out 100 solution doesn't make a sense. So this is a really great exercise, and I believe this is going to be a very valuable lesson for everyone who is watching this video right now. So like, no matter you are a startup founder, you CEO, whoever, you have to understand your customer first, because, and for that you have to get into their shoes, and you have to understand what changes can you make them, or how are you actually solving the problem. So that's how Breaktrhough App team is working forward, and they have been doing great. And this is just a beginning of 2020. I believe there are a lot of stories to come up by the end of December, and our conversation goes on like this. And this is like a question just I wanted to ask you, like, since you just mentioned about Flutter, what other productivity applications or what other productivity softwares do you use to keep to keep your company running, or want to try it out? What are the other applications would you try it out?
Yeah, for sure, man. So we are big users of Trello. Because we are bootstrapped, and that's like the free tool that you can use, and you can make a lot out of it. Let's see. I might have to just look at my phone. Actually, recently, for our specifically creating a solution for our clients, I got into Zapier.
Okay.
Zapier. It's a great way to connect multiple platforms together.
You mean Zapier, right? Zapier.
Zapier. Yeah, Zapier.com.
The API, yeah. It's. I think they are working like magic. Like when they started off with 10 applications, then started to integrate. Now you have 1,500 plus application integrated. So it's like a big achievement. Zapier, good work. I hope I can get them next time for this podcast show.
Oh man, yeah. I mean, they're a great platform. I tweeted. They're very reachable. I actually tweeted. So yesterday we figured out a solution to connect our Firebase console with Infusionsoft and with Google Spreadsheets to just manage different contacts from users that are signing onto the app. I could have built out the API myself because I'm a programmer.
Okay.
I chose not to, because these solutions that people have already thought of, first of all, the no code makes it so much faster, and you don't have to think about maintaining it. It's not another overhead, especially for a startup. And I can trust it because there's a whole team dedicated on it. And we're not. It's not even $100 a month that we're going to be paying. So it's like it's not that bad in the grand scheme of things. Okay. And I tweeted at them that how magical their solution is, and they like retweeted and replied back to me. So I think you should try tweeting at them.
Sure. That I'm definitely going to reach out to them for this broadcasting series. Hopefully they might turn up and give us a series, because there are amazing products out there, and a lot of people miss out. And sometimes pricing also is a big challenge. Like applications pricing has been a factor. So have you ever felt that pricing is the biggest challenge so far right now when you see other products or other productivity? What is your opinion about it?
So are you asking for me using other productivity tools in the pricing of them? Oh yeah. Yeah, I think for productivity tools, I like when things they have a free tier. So at least I can try and get value out of it.
Okay.
Like right now, for example, like Zapier has a free tier, which is great to see. So we were able to like try a couple things out and turn on the paid plan. And as well as like I look at Trello. Trello has many power-ups that I can purchase. Okay. And I trust in Trello because I've used the free tier. I'm like, I can trust in this tool. But when some products, they just have at least for B2B, when they just have a paid premium, maybe a 7-day trial or something, it's too hard to know if I will get value out of it. Yeah. And another tool that actually comes to mind, I should have mentioned this in the productivity tools, is Calendly. I know you use Calendly to meet a bug, and I use Calendly with all my for all my meetings. It is such a phenomenal tool, and I used the free tier for a while.
And it's free. It's even the free tool. Actually, what I'm using is completely a free tool, and I just doesn't need anything beyond. Just need to schedule, and it's working beautiful. Like here you are. Like I didn't have to do anything. Just have to set up a few things, and it's done. That's it.
Yeah. And there was no back and forth like, hey, what time works for you? What time for me? What time zone are you in?
Exactly.
None of that. It's so beautiful. Like now we have, I've been trying to do a sales with somebody in UK, and I'm in San Francisco. It would be a nightmare if I didn't have Calendly.
Exactly.
So yeah, I love that tool.
That's great. So this has been a very great conversation just had with you, Sunny. So
Likewise.
Thank you so much. Like there are like a lot of questions, or a lot, if we had a lot of time, but doesn't matter right now, because we have a lot of coming up months to discuss. Like we will be discussing about different topics on, like, after 3 months you might be a whole new team with right now you said 3, it might be 10 when I'm calling you next time.
Can't wait.
I believe that. I trust that. So that's going to be the pace you will be growing at this stage, because it's a new year, and I wish you all the best for that. And thank you, Sunny. That was really great value you have provided, and amazing concept you are working right now. So if I'm asking you just one simple last question, what would be the biggest giveaway you want to give to the audience right now, from your your experience or your learning you had right
now? Yeah, that's the $1 million question, right? So I think, I can only talk about myself, right? And everybody has to figure out what their own version is. I've found it's incredibly important to be, like, especially if you want to be a founder or are a founder, I find it's incredibly important to be self-aware.
Okay.
Of what you like and what your skills are, and what your skills are and what you're good at. Because I feel like both of those things are very important. And definitely you can learn things. That's not to say you can't learn skills. But if you're all naturally talented at something, combine that with hard work, that's going to be unstoppable, right? So I find it's important to be self-aware to understand that. And then and then from there know what are the skills that I'm lacking, and what are the things that I'm lacking, and try to either work on those skills, or in my case, surround yourself with people who are better at those other skills that are complementary. Like, for example, for me, I'm kind of very, think about many different things, and think about long-term vision, and think about like multiple threads. Whereas my co-founder, he's very good at being one-track minded and just working on stuff and getting it done. And whereas I sometimes lack at that, I start to get like distracted too quickly. But that allows me to manage, 6 different clients and talk to different and switch context quickly. I enjoy that. I've gotten good at that. But I'm not good at doing one thing. But my co-founder is amazing at that. So I would say, I think it's, and I only figured that out about myself through meditation and through reading books and like talking to people. And the second thing, actually segue from that, I would say, if you are working on an idea, it's really important, in my opinion, to talk to people and talk to advisors. And I think gone are the days where people just keep their ideas to their chest and like don't search on it because they think somebody's going to steal it. Like, gone are those days. I think what matters today is execution. Like, I'm giving away all my strategies right now on this call, because I don't really care if anybody does it. If anybody else does it, it's great, because I know what it takes to build these relationships with influencers and build trust and build day in, day out. We're working hard. But talking to people is so important, because that checks any blind spots that you may have. So when anybody questions your idea, I think it's a great thing, because it makes you kind of at least be aware of it if you already weren't aware of it. So those are the 2 things I would say.
That's really, I was very much into that topic, because whatever points you mentioned is absolutely spot on, because that's what we have to look forward for ahead. And thank you for the wonderful share you has given us. And
thank you.
that was an absolutely an amazing initiative you guys are doing right now, and I'm wishing all the best for the like milestones ahead for the next 6 months, next 1 year. Anyway, we will be keeping in touch because there are a lot of conversations coming and going around, because this podcast series is going to move much faster than anything in right now. So, and Sunny and we will be also having a lot of conversation on different topics, because there are a lot of webinars coming in, and I would like to invite you for particular webinars where you can discuss with other startup founders. So we are also hosting a different webinar series as well. So I'm absolutely taking this opportunity just to invite you for this webinar series where you can pick any topics and we can discuss about it in particular, and you can get to know much more, like said, relationship building relationships. So that's going to be a better chance. So thank you so much, Sunny. So this was really great. I had a great conversation with you, and I wish you all the best in the coming years, and whole team Breaktrhough.
Thank you, man.
And I would be expecting you in India. So let me know, because we will be in India, and let's meet anytime soon.
Yeah, I was born in India and I go back every couple of years, so it'll be awesome to connect. And yeah, more than happy to participate in webinars, listen in, and everything.
Awesome.
That'll be awesome. Thank you. And by the way, I love this platform that you've set up, and and thank you so much for giving me the opportunity to come on here and talk about my story.
My pleasure.
So thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Sunny. So that was Sunny with us, the founder and CEO of the company, the Breaktrhough Apps, here with us. Thank you once again. So we'll have this conversation. We'll have more conversations coming up in the coming days and weeks. So please stay tuned. So until then, please subscribe to the YouTube channel. You will find the descriptions down in the below, and also follow the LinkedIn channel and Twitter handles. We are everywhere. Just make sure, if you are a startup founder, or if you want to start a startup, or it's not too late. Everything is there. Just you need to have a proper guidance, and we are providing it to you. If you have any questions, if you have any queries, reach out to us. We will be absolutely welcome for any kind of questions. Until then, thank you. Bye-bye.